round of applause for our chief guest, Honorable Tony Chandler, as he makes his way over the river Kaki. And we will request all our guests to please go
Let's come together
into the CFS Lautoka station.
I'd like to thank you all for just coming, participating in my opening of my CFS, grand opening for this. So basically CGM, when I was in age of 23, I was looking at the import and export is going and trade was happening in Fiji. I just finished fresh from high school. So one thing came in my mind, the trade will never stop. So what I need to do, how can I develop more, what I need to do, choose my career path after school. So came to my mind, shipping. Shipping will never stop, trade will exist. So the CGM, which came after my name, came after my slogan. We control, we ground, we monitor freight. This is what CGM stands for. So I started my office in Suva, and then I had we were using agents overseas for getting the clients import, export. There was a lot of trade barriers happening. The facilitation was not that good. Our clients were getting frustrated. Their cargo was delayed, not picked on time. So I thought of opening an office in New Zealand, so I did. And then later on, our trade was from China is about 67% at the moment. We trade import from the imports in our country. So we had a vision of that, getting it. Then we opened our Hong Kong office, which will be open in 2023. So due to COVID, I was not able to travel at that time. And then India, COVID travel was open. So India, we do about 37.2% of our importation is coming from India. And also there was a need to open an office in Mumbai because we were using agent, the cost was high, the trade barrier was, we were not able to facilitate, the time difference, everything. So I traveled to Mumbai. We opened our first PG-owned office in India, in Mumbai. So we got our CGM logo in there, and we have also presented to the Indian community, investors there, traders, also our Fiji community as well. If you want to trade India, we are here to support. CGM is here to support. You want to import anything, we will facilitate you with a trust binding between the shipper and the buyer. So this is how we opened our Mumbai office. So this is just basically how CGM has opened. And our further plans are, we have opened a CFS in Lautoka. Our next plan is to go into Suva CFS, which we're planning soon. We're just finalizing something. And our next aim is to go into Pacific Island as well. To at least we help our clients, how can we facilitate to bring the trade cost down, like the freight cost is going so high, the people's cost is so at least we're getting our own office, at least we can control some of the cost. So you're able to retail the stuff, retail the product. The more you sell, the more we'll get our business for import as well. So that is a basic concept what CGM is really standing for. And that was what I'm trying to drive on more. So that's big background of the CGM.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to thank our host for the invitation. In fact, he had been very persistently pursuing me, and we last met in Lambasa, where one of his customers actually expanded their store, who were bringing in from India. But I want to congratulate CGM Freight, because if you listen to the owner, the director, his model or his approach to business is very different. Approach is more to work on higher volume and perhaps a lesser margin. And that's something fundamentally that we've been saying in Fiji that businesses should start looking at. A lot of business model is to make a kill on each sale. Whether you're a taxi driver who sees a tourist, let's charge him a very high rate to make one kill on a sale, as opposed to somebody selling a bula shirt, having a different price for tourists and different price for local. But if you are able to get your business model right, which is you work on a higher volume and lower margin, which in fact creates more business. And a lot of people forget that. If you have a higher turnover, and if you couple that with the population base, we're not even 1 million people. Our population base is about 890,000 Fijians. So if you need to then create volume, and you need to create a higher turnover. But it also means is that by doing so, if you then look at the number of Fijians who are outside Fiji, there will be a couple of 100,000 Fijians outside Fiji, living in New Zealand, living in Australia, west coast of North America, in Canada, and also San Francisco, who actually will help in terms of the trading and in terms of volume. And there's now, of course, with the pandemic, the globe has changed significantly. We know freight costs have gone up significantly. There's a shortage of containers. There's logistical issues. You have a lot of the shipment that comes to Fiji basically goes to Auckland, a lot of the shipment. And the Auckland shipping ports have huge problems with logistics, huge problems. We've had containers that sit at Auckland port for about 6 weeks. So it's 6 for 8 weeks. It's a huge issue. If you look globally too, the services sector in countries like Australia and New Zealand and even USA and Canada, a lot of people don't want to work in the services sector. New Zealand, for example, has a shortage of about 63,000 people to work in the hospitality sector. Some of the restaurants don't open on time, they can't open every day because there's not enough people on to work as waiters and waitresses or as chefs. The huge issue, there's a preferential change in the professions people are pursuing. So given all of that, what you actually do need, you need business people who actually think outside the box. People who look at the glass not half empty but half full. And our host obviously saw an opportunity at a very young age. The fact that he's ventured out and set up an office in Mumbai, set up an office in New Zealand, and of course, you know, in Hong Kong, as he was saying, goes to show that he's actually pre-positioning himself. A lot of the supply chain issues, but also supply itself, is now affected in China. China still has a zero tolerance of COVID, so they lock down cities, they lock down towns. There is an impact on production. So which means people are looking at different suppliers. I know a particular organization, for the past couple of times, they've been seeing, for example, getting shirts and t-shirts, etc., out from China. But now, because of time delays, they're getting it from India. So do they have people do they know people in India? It's a new market from that perspective. So if you have people who work in the freight sector and have this kind of model or motto, which is we control, we ground, and we monitor freights, obviously it gives people confidence. So it opens up new markets. And from a government perspective, as you know, during COVID, last year or so, we reduced duty on about 2,000 items. So most of the items that are now imported in Fiji has a duty rate of only 5%. Most of the items. So which means that government maybe, so the way that we looked at things was, we'd rather have a lower rate, tariff rate, but higher volume. So if the duty was say 32%, people may only bring 1,000 pieces of that. But if you reduce duty to 5%, people may bring in 10,000 pieces of that. So from a direct revenue collection perspective on tariff, we still make more money, even though tariff is 5%. In the same way, if government is thinking like that, the private sector is thinking like that. I mean, one of his customers here, the one in Lambasa, you know, they sell salwar kameezes and saris and all of that at a very different margin. You go to some of the traditional importers of those same items, you pay actually $1,000 or $1,500 for one piece. Whereas these people's model is different. They have a lower margin, they have a higher turnover. So it not only means that they could do good business, but also means the consumers are able to benefit. So I mean, overall, that will be the gist of it. And I really appreciate not just young people, but also everybody in Fiji, but in his particular case, young people, you see him as a role model because a lot of young people they can only be job seekers, not job creators, not people who can actually create business themselves. He's obviously proven that you can do it at an early age. If you have the drive, you have the fortitude, you have the vision, then you'll get to their destination. And that's precisely what he's proven. At the age of just 31, he's now got this facility here in Lautoka, and obviously he'll be expanding further, God willing, and we wish him all the best. I do not intend to make a long speech. Hopefully you have all had your dinner. Otherwise, they say a hungry man is an angry man. And I don't want to take too much of your time. And a hungry woman is an angry woman too. So ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for our host. And I'm sure that we wish him all the best. And we are, of course, grateful for entrepreneurs like him. And from a government perspective, of course, we are here to liberalize the economy, trying to reduce all the cobwebs within the system, all the hurdles, and a lot of business people are here. We look forward to your positive contribution as to how we can improve things. We all need to work together as partners, as collaborators, as opposed to simply being detractors. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, I wish you all a very good evening, and also wish our host and his family all the best, and we're sure we'll be seeing a lot bigger and better things. Vinaka, thank you very much.